The emergency beacon pulsed with a desperate rhythm, cutting through the vast emptiness of the neutron corridor. Chancellor Zara Krell of the Luminarian Confederation stared at the holographic display, her iridescent skin shifting between shades of deep blue and ashen gray, a physiological response to extreme stress. 13 standard cycles, she whispered, her voice barely audible above the low hum of the command center's environmental systems. 13 cycles of watching our civilization crumble. The Void Collective had been relentless. What began as a territorial dispute had evolved into a systematic extermination of the Luminarian species. Planet after planet had fallen. Entire star systems had been reduced to cosmic dust. The once vibrant civilization that had mapped 1,000 star clusters was now reduced to a handful of refugees, desperately clinging to their last remaining stronghold. Commander Vox Renard stood behind the Chancellor, his muscular frame tense. Unlike many of his fellow Luminarians, Vox had been a military strategist, watching helplessly as diplomatic channels failed and military defenses crumbled. The Void Collective was ruthless, technologically superior, and driven by an insatiable hunger for resource conquest. "The transmission," Zara said, turning to face Vox, "it's our last hope." The message had been crafted with surgical precision. No embellishments, no diplomatic pleasantries, just a raw, unfiltered plea for survival. They had broadcast it across every known communication channel, knowing full well that their enemies would intercept it alongside potential allies. Most species had already turned away. The galactic community had become a cold, calculated ecosystem of survival. Alliances were temporary, mercy was a luxury few could afford. The Luminarians had watched as other civilizations chose self-preservation over intervention. But humanity was different. They were an unknown variable, a species that had seemingly emerged from obscurity, achieving faster-than-light travel mere decades ago. Unlike other spacefaring civilizations, humans maintained an air of mystery. Their diplomatic presence was minimal, their technological capabilities largely unknown. Vox approached the transmission console, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "We've sent it through every quantum relay. If anyone can receive it, they will." The command center was a testament to their declining civilization. Once, this room would have been filled with hundreds of personnel, a bustling hub of communication and strategy. Now, only a dozen remained, the last defenders of a dying people. Hours passed. Each minute felt like an eternity. The Void Collective's warships continued their relentless approach, their massive energy weapons charging, ready to deliver the final blow to the Luminarian resistance. Then, unexpectedly, something changed. A response signal flickered on the communication array. Weak at first, then growing stronger. Vox's breath caught in his throat. "Chancellor," he said, his voice a mixture of disbelief and hope, "we're receiving a transmission." Zara moved closer to the display, her body now a swirl of anticipatory colors, silvery whites mixing with electric blues. The communication protocols were unlike anything they had encountered before. It wasn't the structured, bureaucratic response typical of most galactic civilizations. This was different. As the transmission began to resolve, a face emerged. Human, female, wearing a uniform that seemed both practical and somehow defiant. No ornate decorations, no ceremonial insignias, just a simple, dark attire that spoke of function over form. "Luminarian Confederation," the woman said, her voice clear and direct. "This is Commander Elena Russo of the United Earth Expeditionary Force. We've received your distress call and verified the incoming threat. Transmission of tactical support is imminent." No questions, no negotiations, just a statement of intent. Vox and Zara exchanged a look. In that moment, they realized something profound was about to unfold. Humanity was no longer an unknown, they were about to become known. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The United Earth Strategic Command Center buzzed with controlled intensity. Holographic displays flickered with incoming data streams, casting blue-white light across the faces of humanity's top military and diplomatic minds. At the center of it all stood Admiral Elena Russo, her fingers tracing the intricate tactical projection of the Luminarian sector. Dr. Marcus Caulade, Earth's leading xenopolitical analyst, approached with a datapad. His dark skin glistened under the artificial lighting, a sheen of nervous energy radiating from his compact frame. "The Global Council is divided," he said, not bothering with preliminary pleasantries. Elena's eyes never left the holographic display. "Divided about what, exactly? We received a verified distress call from a civilization under imminent threat of total extinction." Marcus sighed, the weight of interstellar politics pressing down on his shoulders. "Some argue it's not our concern. Others fear provoking the Void Collective. We've maintained a policy of strategic non-intervention for decades." A bitter laugh escaped Elena's lips. "Non-intervention, is that what we're calling it now?" The command center represented a cross-section of humanity's most advanced minds. Quantum physicists stood shoulder to shoulder with military strategists. Xenobiologists conversed with quantum computing experts. Each brought a piece of the complex puzzle that was humanity's potential response. General Kai Wang, head of Earth's expeditionary force, stepped forward. Unlike the politicians and diplomats, Wang understood the practical implications of their decision. "The Luminarians aren't just asking for help," he said, his voice a low, calculated rumble. "They're offering us something far more valuable." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "And what might that be?" "A chance to show the galaxy exactly who we are," Wang replied. The holographic display shifted, revealing detailed scans of the Void Collective's fleet. Massive warships, each capable of reducing entire planetary systems to cosmic debris. Their technological superiority had been the stuff of galactic legend, a force that had conquered and subjugated countless civilizations. Elena's fingers danced across the tactical interface. "We're not just sending a rescue mission," she said, more to herself than to anyone else. "We're sending a message." Discussions erupted around her. Some argued for caution, others for immediate intervention. But Elena knew the decision had already been made the moment they received the Luminarian transmission. Humanity had been waiting, watching, gathering strength behind a carefully constructed veil of mystery. "Prepare the quantum resonance fleet," she commanded. The room fell silent. The quantum resonance fleet was more than just a military asset. It was humanity's most closely guarded secret, a technological marvel that defied the conventional understanding of space, time, and military engagement. Each vessel was not just a weapon, but a statement of human ingenuity. Dr. Imani Okoro, chief quantum drive engineer, stepped forward. Her holographic schematics revealed ships that seemed to defy the very laws of physics. "Quantum entanglement drives are at maximum capacity," she reported. "We can be anywhere in the galaxy within hours, not days." Marcus looked troubled. "The diplomatic repercussions were decided the moment those Luminarians sent their distress call," Elena interrupted. Her voice was calm, but there was an underlying steel that brooked no argument. As preparations intensified, a sense of anticipation filled the command center. This was more than a rescue mission. This was humanity's first true introduction to the galactic stage, not as supplicants or observers, but as a force to be reckoned with. General Wang approached Elena, a rare smile crossing his typically stoic features. "They won't know what hit them," he muttered. Elena's response was a mere nod. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity was far more than they appeared, a sleeping giant finally awakening. The quantum resonance fleet began to power up. 12 massive vessels, each capable of technological feats that would rewrite the understanding of interstellar warfare. Engines hummed with a power that seemed to bend the very fabric of space. First contact was about to become first conquest. The void between star systems stretched like an infinite canvas of darkness, punctuated by the silent, impossibly graceful movement of the quantum resonance fleet. Aboard the flagship Horizon, Commander Elena Russo stood on the bridge, her reflection ghosting against the adaptive quantum glass viewports. Dr. Imani Okoro monitored the quantum drives, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces that seemed to pulse with living energy. "Quantum entanglement is holding stable," she reported, her voice calm despite the unprecedented nature of their mission. We're cutting travel time by approximately 87% compared to conventional FTL drives. The fleet's 12 vessels moved in a formation that defied traditional military doctrine. They weren't rigid geometric shapes, but a fluid, almost organic configuration that could reconfigure instantaneously. Each ship was a marvel of human engineering, weapons systems that could target multiple threats simultaneously, adaptive quantum shields that could predict and neutralize incoming attacks before they materialized. General Kai Wang studied the long-range tactical displays. The Void Collective's patrol patterns were predictable, almost mathematically precise. But predictability was a weakness humans had learned to exploit throughout their history. They've grown complacent, Wang muttered, more to himself than to anyone else. Generations of unchallenged conquest have made them blind to true innovation. Alina understood the subtext. Humanity had spent decades observing, learning, preparing. While other civilizations showcased their military might, humans had been quietly revolutionizing the very concepts of space travel, weapon systems, and strategic engagement. A priority communication channel flickered to life. Chancellor Zara Krell of the Luminarians appeared, her iridescent skin now a pale, anxious shade of silver. Our long-range sensors show the Void Collective has increased their offensive operations, she reported. They've begun systematic elimination of our remaining colonies. The bridge fell silent. This wasn't just a rescue mission anymore. This was an intervention that would reshape galactic power dynamics. Dr. Marcus Caulade, who had been analyzing communication intercepts, spoke up. The Void Collective's communication protocols suggest they view all other species as resources to be consumed or obstacles to be eliminated. They don't understand the concept of mutual survival. Elena's eyes narrowed. Humanity had faced similar challenges in its own history, the long, brutal journey from tribal conflicts to global cooperation. They understood something the Void Collective did not. True strength wasn't about domination, but adaptation. The ship's quantum navigation system began to highlight potential engagement zones. Holographic projections showed multiple scenarios, each calculated with millisecond precision, accounting for gravitational anomalies, potential weapon frequencies, and adaptive enemy responses. Prepare quantum disruptors, Alina commanded. The weapons were unlike anything in the known galaxy, not just tools of destruction, but sophisticated systems that could neutralize entire fleet configurations without traditional destructive output. Dr. Akoro looked up from her console, a rare smile crossing her face. Quantum entanglement drives are showing some interesting additional capabilities, she said. We might be able to do more than just travel fast. We might be able to fundamentally alter the battlefield itself. The implications hung in the air. This wasn't just a military mission. This was a demonstration of humanity's evolutionary approach to conflict, an approach that saw challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for revolutionary solutions. As the horizon approached the combat zone, the fleet began to shift. No longer 12 separate vessels, they became something else. A unified, adaptive system that could reconfigure faster than any known targeting computer could track. The Void Collective was about to learn a fundamental truth about humanity. They didn't just fight wars, they redefined them. First contact was imminent, and humanity was more than ready. The moment of first contact arrived with a silence more deafening than any explosion. The Void Collective's fleet loomed before the horizon, massive obsidian-like vessels that had crushed countless civilizations, their weapon arrays glinting with a cold, predatory anticipation. Commander Alina Russo watched the tactical display, her fingers hovering just above the quantum interface. "Engage adaptive response protocol," she commanded, her voice steady. The bridge crew moved with a synchronicity that bordered on the supernatural. Dr. Amani Akoro's hands flew across her console, quantum algorithms spinning complex defensive and offensive scenarios faster than any biological intelligence could comprehend. High Executor Krent of the Void Collective studied the approaching human fleet with a mixture of confusion and contempt. Their long-range scans showed 12 vessels, a laughably small number against their own armada of over 200 warships. Every previous encounter had followed the same script: overwhelming force, swift subjugation, total elimination. This would be no different. Or so they thought. The first indication that something was fundamentally wrong came when the human ships began to shift. Not just move, but literally reconfigure in ways that defied known physical laws. Quantum entanglement wasn't just a propulsion method, it was a weapon system beyond comprehension. Targeting systems are failing, a Void Collective tactical officer reported, panic creeping into his voice. The human vessels, they're existing in multiple quantum states simultaneously. General Kai Wang leaned forward, watching the tactical display with a predatory intensity. Quantum overlay initializing, he muttered. The human fleet wasn't just fighting, they were rewriting the fundamental rules of engagement. Weapon systems that would have obliterated entire planetary defenses simply passed through the human ships. When the Void Collective attempted to target one vessel, it would simultaneously exist in multiple locations, rendering traditional targeting impossible. Chancellor Zara Krell, watching from the communication relay, could barely comprehend what was unfolding. The Luminarian survivors watched in awe as the human fleet moved like a living, breathing organism, each ship an extension of a greater, more complex intelligence. Dr. Marcus Collard's analysis came through the communication channel. They're not just using technology, he explained to the stunned Luminarian leadership. They're applying a fundamentally different approach to existence itself. The Void Collective's High Executor Krent realized too late that they were facing something entirely unprecedented. These humans weren't just another species to be conquered. They were a fundamental disruption to everything the Void Collective understood about warfare, technology, and survival. One by one, Void Collective ships began to simply disengage. Not destroyed, not defeated in any traditional sense, but rendered completely ineffective. Quantum disruptors created fields that made their most advanced weapon systems simply cease to function. "They're neutralizing our entire fleet," Krent whispered, a concept of fear emerging in a consciousness that had never known such an emotion. Elena Russo's voice cut through the communication channels, calm, direct, almost surgical in its precision. "Void Collective," she announced, "your campaign of extinction ends now." It wasn't a threat, it was a statement of fact. The human fleet continued its advance, not with the brutal force of traditional warfare, but with a surgical precision that suggested they could end the conflict with minimal loss of life. They were rewriting the very concept of military engagement, showing that true power wasn't about destruction, but about the ability to render destruction unnecessary. As the confrontation reached its climax, the galaxy watched. This was more than a battle. This was a fundamental shift in understanding, the moment humanity stepped from the shadows and revealed itself as something entirely new. The Void Collective was about to learn that some forces cannot be conquered. They can only be understood. The aftermath of the confrontation was unlike any diplomatic resolution in galactic history. Where traditional conflicts would have ended in total annihilation, humanity chose a path of calculated mercy and strategic reconstruction. Chancellor Zara Krell stood aboard the horizon, her iridescent skin now a vibrant mix of colors that spoke of hope and wonder. The Luminarian survivors watched in awe as human medical and reconstruction teams began working immediately, not just to save their civilization, but to fundamentally rebuild it. Commander Elena Russo met with the captured Void Collective leadership, her approach a masterclass in diplomatic strategy. "Your civilization has a choice," she explained, her voice calm but unequivocal. "Adapt or become irrelevant." Dr. Marcus Collard worked tirelessly, translating not just languages, but entire cultural paradigms. The humans weren't just offering rescue, they were presenting a new model of galactic coexistence. Dr. Imani Okoro's quantum technologies were already being shared, not as weapons, but as tools of reconstruction and mutual development. General Kai Wang oversaw the dismantling of the Void Collective's most destructive infrastructure. But this wasn't about punishment, it was about prevention. Each decommissioned weapon system was carefully studied, with the intent of understanding and ultimately preventing future conflicts. The galactic community watched in stunned silence. Humanity had not just defeated a seemingly invincible enemy, they had done so with a level of strategic compassion that defied all previous understanding of interstellar conflict. "We're not here to replace your civilization," Alina told the Void Collective leaders. "We're here to show you a different path." Quantum communication networks began to spread, connecting previously isolated civilizations. The technology was a gift, but more importantly, it was an invitation. An invitation to understand, to grow, to evolve. The Luminarians, once on the brink of total extinction, now became the first witnesses to a new form of galactic diplomacy. Their chancellor addressed their people, her voice trembling with emotion. "Humanity did not just save us," Zara Krell explained. "They showed us what true strength looks like." As reconstruction began, something remarkable happened. The Void Collective, once a monolithic force of destruction, began to fragment, not through violence but through understanding. Entire sectors began to reimagine their purpose, their potential. Dr. Okoro's quantum technologies revealed something profound. The universe was not a zero-sum game of conquest, but a complex network of potential, waiting to be understood, waiting to be connected. General Wang reflected on the mission's true objective. This wasn't about military victory. It was about demonstrating a fundamental truth about humanity, that true power lies not in destruction, but in the ability to transform. Years would pass. The story of humanity's intervention would become legend, a turning point in galactic history, not as conquerors but as catalysts of change. In the vast darkness of space, a new light had begun to shine, and it was distinctly, unequivocally human. The galaxy would never be the same again. 5 standard galactic cycles had passed since the Horizon's intervention. The galaxy watched, waited, and gradually transformed. Dr. Liana Rodriguez, Earth's first interstellar diplomatic coordinator, stood before the Galactic Cooperative Assembly. Her presentation was unlike any diplomatic briefing in recorded history, a holographic display that was part scientific report, part philosophical revelation. "Transformation is not about conquest," she began, her voice resonating through the massive chamber filled with representatives from hundreds of different civilizations. "It's about understanding the fundamental potential of collective evolution." The chamber was a testament to the changes humanity had initiated. Where once rigid diplomatic protocols and centuries-old hostilities had dominated, now there was a sense of genuine curiosity. Representatives from species that had been enemies for millennia now sat side by side, their communication interfaces modified by human quantum translation technologies. Chancellor Zara Krell of the Luminarians had become a key ally. Her presence beside the human delegation symbolized more than a political alliance. It represented a new paradigm of interstellar cooperation. General Kai Wang listened carefully, his strategic mind always analyzing the broader implications. The dismantling of the Void Collective had revealed something far more profound than a military victory. It had exposed the fundamental flaws in traditional galactic power structures, systems built on fear, resource extraction, and zero-sum competition. Dr. Imani Okoro's quantum communication networks had become the nervous system of this new galactic understanding. What had begun as a defensive technology was now a bridge between civilizations, allowing for unprecedented levels of cultural and technological exchange. "The Void Collective was not an anomaly," Liana continued, her holographic display showing intricate networks of technological and cultural connections. "They were a symptom of a larger systemic problem, a failure to recognize the interconnected nature of existence." The assembled representatives watched, transfixed. Humanity was doing something unprecedented, not lecturing, not conquering, but inviting collective understanding. A Zorn representative, a crystalline being from the Outer Rim territories, spoke up. "You changed the rules," it communicated through a translation matrix. "Not by force, but by demonstrating a different possibility." Dr. Marcus Caulade, who had been instrumental in developing cross-cultural communication protocols, nodded. The human approach was fundamentally different. Where previous galactic powers sought to dominate or isolate, humanity proposed a radical alternative: mutual growth. The quantum communication networks were revealing unexpected discoveries. Civilizations that had been isolated for millennia were now sharing knowledge, technologies, and cultural insights. Ancient conflicts were being re-examined not through the lens of historical grievances, but through potential collaborative futures. General Wang understood the deeper strategy. This wasn't just diplomatic outreach, it was a form of evolutionary diplomacy. By creating systems that made conflict increasingly obsolete, humanity was reshaping the very concept of interstellar relations. Liana's presentation concluded with a simple yet profound visualization. The galaxy, once depicted as a collection of isolated territories and competing powers, now appeared as an intricate, pulsing network of potential. Each civilization a node, each connection a possibility. "We are not here to lead," she said, her final words hanging in the chamber. "We are here to learn, to grow, and to demonstrate that our greatest strength lies not in our technology, but in our capacity to understand." The Galactic Cooperative Assembly fell silent. Something fundamental had changed. And at the center of this transformation was a species that had once been considered a mysterious, minor player in the cosmic drama. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy. They had invited it to reimagine itself.